Hey, welcome to Be That, Create That, the podcast where we teach women in leadership to step confidently into their next level in career and life, using some intentional action steps so that they can be who they admire and create what they desire. I'm Trienne Topp. I'm a leadership performance coach, inspired working with women in areas of all leadership and personal development. A true personal development junkie because I have seen the shifts that have happened in my life and in the lives of my clients and teams with these types of tools applied. I believe happiness equals progress and fulfillment is then the result. So I know with small intentional actions in leading ourselves every day, we can make the impact we'd like to see in the world around us through leadership and influence. In this podcast, you're going to hear everyday leadership lessons from my clients, my teams, or my own experiences that have improved communication, culture, collaboration, ultimately creating a ripple effect throughout our networks. So let's get started and let's get intentional. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Be That, Create That channel. So excited to have you here today with my guest, Courtney. I met Courtney through a similar coaching program that we're in. We did a summit together. We just did a podcast switch last week, and I did an interview with her where I mean, we really could have talked all day, I feel like. So today she's going to share with you a little bit about human design and manifestation and how she got started in that, which I love. So Courtney is an international human design and manifestation coach. She ignites business owners to become more powerful, profitable, and purposeful. I love that. You guys know we're all about intention and purpose in our community. She's a certified business master coach and a human design reader. She lives in Dallas with her husband of 27 years and 4 kiddos, 2 dogs, and a grand dog. She loves Netflix, naps, and sparkling water. I feel like we just became best friends, but I'm going to bring Courtney on here real quick. Hello.
Hey, Trienne. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm so excited to chat.
I think it's great to have you here to also introduce human design to the community again. We have talked about it in very small snippets. And then when we did, my cat's trying to get on my lap here. When we did my reading last week for your podcast, Become, I just was like, this is a rabbit hole. I could go into so many different places, but you brought out the specific points for my chart that really made sense to me. And I am so appreciative of that.
Oh, it was so fantastic. It's so amazing, like leaning into how we're built and designed and aligned and operate and our gifts and our strengths. It just makes everything so much easier and feels so much more authentic. And that's how I like to live, like authentic living. But sometimes we need some help with that. What does that look like for us? So, yeah.
Speaking of authenticity, so I don't know, you've got 4 kids and I don't know what sports that they play. Do they play any sports?
They're all older, but our one in high school, our youngest, he's in high school. He's a junior now. He does music. So he does choir and all sorts of musical things, but we've done sports before. Yes.
With all our other kids doing something, you kind of feel like you're in it with them a little bit, right? So on my reading, and the part that I remember from before when I looked at my chart, it said I had a very defined throat. So we're at my daughter's game last night, and I thought of you because we're at my daughter's game last night, and I'm like, let's go, Shell Bell, let's go, and I'm the mom who cheers. I'm the hypeest hype girl. I don't care. I'm authentic about it, whatever. And I'm just, we come off the field and my daughter's like, I could hear you yelling. And I looked at her to make sure she was smiling first. And then I was like, Mama likes to yell. It embarrasses your dad, but if you're okay with it, it's going to continue. And she's like, it's fine.
Oh, that's the best. Using your gift of speaking and communication to cheer on your kids. I love that.
Oh gosh. It was just one of those moments that I was like, well, someone told me that that's okay. So it's going to happen.
Yeah. Amen to that.
So you obviously know more in depth about what it is that you do. So why don't you tell our audience, our community here, a little bit about yourself, and how your journey brought you to what you're focused on right now?
Yes. So I have a background in, my husband and I own a company that we started like 20 years ago. It's in marketing and market research, and we service Fortune 500 clients throughout the U.S. And I was always kind of felt like I was like just kind of tagging along with the movement of it, like I'm just kind of here, I had a really good role in the company and met with clients and all the things, and so. I had really wanted to step into social media coaching. I thought for our smaller clients that would be really helpful, but I also kind of wanted my own thing. And so as I was doing that, I got involved in a coaching program that was helping me to launch this. Well, this was a couple years ago, and I was like in the midst of doing that, and I found a human design coach. So actually, one of my colleague friends was like, "Hey, what's your human design?" And I'm like, "What is that?" I have no idea what that is. I've never heard of that. But there's something that just really spoke to my soul just in the word that I was like, oh, there's something there for me. I wonder what this is. And so I explored it more, and she's like, well, I don't know that much, but here, connect with this colleague of mine. So we connected, and I actually had her in my community. And in the community, she was talking about human design and how we can really step into our power and really be authentic and purposeful. And through that, I was like, there is something here for me. I could just feel it, So I decided to kind of take this human design experiment. The chart looks super crazy. There is so many different layers to it, but I was like, let's just take it one thing at a time and start seeing if this really helps me to feel more confident, more grounded, more capable. And so as I did that, and I dived in, it's like a rabbit hole. You can just go in many layers and stuff. I just felt so at peace. And that's what it came down to, is I just felt so much more happy. I felt so much more peace within my life and my business. I was operating how I needed to be, and not in this box that we think business has to look like, It can really be dynamic, and it can be what we make of it. But so oftentimes we think it has to run. We have to go, go, go all the time, wake up at 5 a.m. Well, I tried to wake up at 5 a.m. and I was like, that really, really does not work for me. I really struggle, And so once I figured out my design and was living in this way, I was like, I can't just not do something about it. I have to share this gift with other people. I have to share how they can live their design as well, and they can manifest more money. They can really step into their true power of who they are. And so I launched a program. And within 6 months, it was in 6 different countries.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool. And it's not that I worked harder at all. I just worked more me. And I actually honored myself so much more. And I put myself in position where I was utilizing my gifts that I was born with, instead of trying to oh, that gift looks cool that person's doing. Maybe I should try that, and it just doesn't really match energetically.
So when you started your business, obviously going into it, you were like, here's some strengths and some opportunities that I have. We're honest with ourselves, right? So share a little bit about how you decided what those strengths and opportunities were, and maybe, one of each that you felt like you had to face.
Yes. So you mean before my human design or after?
Before.
Before. Oh, okay. So I totally thought I had to work like crazy, from sunrise to sunset, I felt like I had to go, go, go all the time. Well, I also knew at the time too, I was like, I really don't have enough energy for that, that's really hard. So this mental conversation in my mind was like, you need to go, go, go all the time. Successful business owners, they get up, they work 12-hour days, they can fit in all these things, and they don't take naps, they don't take rests. They just have the energy. So if you can't do that, then something is wrong with you. And that
Mhm.
was a mental message inside of my head. I was like, there's something wrong with me. And that thought is so destructive.
Mhm.
And it's so painful to really like feel like we're swimming upstream. Like, oh, if I can't do this, I am lacking in some area. So I'm broken in some way. So how
Mhm.
can I fix myself?
Mhm.
So human design really gave me the freedom to say, you know what? You don't need to work that hard to get that much. You actually, the less you work, that you're really efficient in what you do, but you don't have to work 12-hour days. You don't have to get up early. You don't have to stay up late. You can take a nap. That's why I put naps in there. I was like, I love naps.
Yes, I
Naps.
thought that was so funny. It's like giving yourself permission to slow down a little bit and, the slow down to speed up. Mhm.
Yes, yeah, it was all the permission to really honor myself and
Mhm.
to be okay in that honoring.
I love
Yeah.
that. So then, obviously we go into it and we feel like we have some opportunities. Then you look at those opportunities and how did that match up with your human design where you were able to take some of those and go, oh, but they're here for a reason. Do you have an example of one of those?
Oh, yeah. So one of the things I've really leaned into, one of my gifts is the ability to speak.
Mhm.
And so I had this gift, you have this gift too. And so we have this gift of speaking and communication. And so once I found that out, I was like, well, if I have this gift, then wouldn't I want to put myself in position where I can speak more, where I can share more? What if I wanted to speak on a stage or speak at a retreat or speak at like on a podcast,
Mhm.
what would happen to my business if I leaned into that? And so that's what I did. So I launched a podcast, and it's a very successful global audience. I was invited to speak on a stage. I have booked retreats and been to retreats and led retreats. Like it's all those like things when I just kind of relaxed into the gift. I was like, what if, and kind of played around with it. I was like, what if
Mhm.
does this feel good to me to speak, to honor this gift? And we know that when we use our gifts, they get stronger and stronger, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so when I do speaking engagements, I'm like, let's just roll with this. Like we're just gonna have fun. We're just gonna have a good time. And I love to make that connection with the people that were in whatever platform it's on.
Mhm.
And it's really been, again, so fun to do this and such a good way to expand my business and to enjoy the process of expansion. Sometimes expansion can be overwhelming, but like,
Mhm.
but like if I do it my way and I do it what feels right to me, honoring myself, I'm like, this is actually kind of fun.
Yes, and that's
I
what it's
like it.
meant to be, right? The more I play,
Yes.
the more I play, the more I play, right? And then the business just
Yes.
I'm not gonna say the business just comes because there's definitely some work in there, but I have felt like the more that I've allowed myself to just play with it, see what works,
Yeah.
just ask yourself those questions about what feels good and roll with that at first.
Yeah, yeah, and just roll with it and kind of relax. Like I talked a lot about my clients about just releasing. I'm like,
Mhm.
let's just release,
Mhm.
release expectations that you don't need to meet. Release this seriousness around business. It has to
Mhm.
be, rah, 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 that type of thing. Release like stress around having to do our it a certain business a certain way. So I'm like, in the release, you can really play. You
Mhm.
can let go and have fun with it.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about, you talked a little bit about I'd like to do more speaking, more stages, more
Yeah.
retreats. Where do you feel like your vision is taking your business or even life in general? Like where are we going in the next couple years?
Yeah, so I see my brand as this global brand, and it is, and even
Mhm.
expanding into more and more women's lives, honoring the well of the gifts that they have. And when they bring that to the forefront, they receive peace and they receive happiness. So all my programs and things like that really support this like entrepreneur journey of peace, entrepreneur journey of happiness. Let's and fun too. Let's like have fun with this and stuff like that. And so oftentimes the entrepreneur journey is like stressful and like chaotic and things like that. And I'm like, it can be done another way. And I want it to be done another way. Honestly, when it's done this other way, you will have more energy, more creativity, more just movement and expansion in your business when you have peace and purpose within that. So I just want people to know like how really phenomenal they are. And when they recognize and honor that within themselves, the peace and the happiness comes.
How have you been able to take some of this human design and like, I know you said that you and your husband have a company that has to do with market and market research. Yeah. So how have you been able to maybe mingle the two?
Well, I've actually stepped back from that business. So he basically runs it and stuff. And I did that and he made me too. He's like, your business is enough on your plate. He knows me and we're the same human design type as a projector. And he knows that like he's a generator, which is another human design type that has an immense amount of energy. So projectors, they have ebbs and flows of energy. And so that's why honoring like those naps or those rest times and renewal times are vital, and walking and doing yoga, just something that like really refreshes us. So he's like, I actually can hire your position, or so why don't you go ahead and do your thing,
Go do your thing. Yes.
Go do your thing. And I thought that was so special because in a team relationship, there's, we have kids, we have work, we have fun things that we'd like to do together. But I really felt like he was honoring me and knowing that like, you can't do it all in the way that he could, because he gets up at like 5 a.m. and he could work all day long and continue to do that. And that is really cool. But I bring special things to the table. So I've still gone on client meetings and things like that, but I've really stepped back because it would be too much. It would be way too much. And I can't do that. And then last year I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And so it layers on another aspect of health-wise. And so he really honors like where I am with my company and where we partner together. And he's like, it's really been super, super special. Like, I didn't think it would go that way, but he's just been like, you do your thing. We got this.
Took us out again. Sorry about that. It's so important to have that supportive spouse. I am very grateful for Bill in that way. He doesn't ask a lot of questions, but he does let it roll, which I am super appreciative of.
Yeah. And it makes such a difference, it really does. Cause you're like, it just deepens that friendship and that connection to really be seen, and this is another like kind of side note, but like, allowing human design to work within our families or our teams is so helpful. So like, it's so nice for me not only to know what my clients' human design is, because then I know like what I come to the table with and coaching them, but it's so the same thing with my kids and with my husband, I know what they bring to the table. And so I can coach to and speak to their design without being like, and your chart says this, that type of
thing. Which is interesting because when I first started looking at human design, I had given you mine and it's all marked up and things like that. Yeah. But I went down the rabbit hole and I did my husband's human design. I did both of my daughter's human design, and some of it there's ounces of it that I know what it is. I'm sure there's more research to it for sure. But there was, mine has that open defined throat. His is like shut down. So it makes so much sense that when he is, feeling a certain way or frustrated, there is like zero communication.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
how my husband is too, the same thing, and I have to recognize, I was like, "Okay, I need to give him some space to develop and come to me when he's ready to talk," you know?
Yes. And I have to take those opportunities that when he is ready to talk and I can
Yeah,
feel it and I can kind of hear
yes,
it, that I do not throw everything at him at once, but just really leading myself and being like, what do I want this conversation to look like? At the end, what
yes.
do I want it to feel like? What do I want him to feel like? And really thinking it through. And I know that seems like a lot of work, but it it's necessary. When you really care about another person, I think it's necessary. And you
Yeah,
can do that without knowing your human design, but it definitely helps.
yeah, it definitely helps, and it's neat because it's that same coaching skills, right? Like,
Mhm.
we have a lot of open centers, you and I, and open center in human design is their chakras basically, and each
Mhm.
chakra has a gift. And when you have an open center, an open chakra that's called centers, it means you can really feel what other people are feeling and
Mhm.
sense an unspoken conversation. And it's this empathy that has this new layer, like oftentimes, like right before someone says something, I'll get the hit that they're going to say that thing, or they're
Yep.
feeling a certain way, and then or I'm like, oh, I can feel that they're feeling this way, and then I'll say something and they're like, thank you so much, you see me, and
Yes.
everybody, yeah, whether our coaching clients or our families, just want to be seen and heard. So
Yes.
it's really like it's a cool way to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I think even, like, in the restaurant, and the
Yeah.
clothing store that I managed, the team building retreats that I've done, like, that is really probably the skill that has helped me the most, is that piece of empathy, is that understanding, and that people just wanna be valued and heard and seen for who they are and what they're bringing to the table and not compared to Sally Joe. They just want to be compared to the best version of what they can give.
Yes, yeah, the best version of the way you give, and
Mhm,
you have that gift from your design of being able to see that and pull that out,
mhm.
and so your work with people, your work as a coach is so vital because you really like you validate people and you allow them to have freedom to be themselves.
Mhm. Yeah, and like I said, I'm the hypiest hype girl. When someone is really feeling themselves and you can see that confidence burst, it's like, yes, I don't even want to get off the call with you at this point because I'm like, I just want to cheer you on. So it's
Yes.
just it's an interesting fact that you can really feel that energy with someone through
Mhm.
video because you can feel it in person, but being able to feel that through video and the way that we have evolved in our long distance connections, it still just blows my mind.
Oh, I know, isn't it so cool? It's like we can meet people all over the world and
Mhm.
just feel like we're best friends over, over technology. It's so awesome.
Yes. So the people in my community know that I'm a big believer in a morning routine. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be in the morning. I know you said that you're not an early riser, which is perfectly
Yes.
fine. But
Yeah.
is there something that is a piece of your day that is a non-negotiable for you that you feel like really adds to your success?
Oh, yeah, like, I have actually different parts of the day are non-negotiable.
Mhm.
Like, I don't start, working till probably 9:30 or 10 because, I take my dog on a walk. I do some journaling. I'm very involved in my church, so I do some spiritual connection there as well. And it's like those things set me up to have a much better day. They pour into me and allow me to have a beautiful, energetic day. Also, some things I've done is like create the intention for the day. What do I want to feel like at the end of the day?
Mm,
How do I want to feel when I'm going to bed? And I write that or feel that as if I've already done it. And so today's intention actually was super. And it was just like I just want to feel more at peace because I've been feeling really run down and tired lately.
mhm,
And so I was like, I just want to feel at peace today with however my body feels is how it's going to feel today, and not
mhm,
have this like dialogue of, oh, you're sick again, that type of thing. So,
mhm.
so that was my, and I wrote a couple other just like feelings that I wanted to cultivate throughout the day. And so, my other thing is like ending the day. Like once my work day is done, I go to the gym and I lift weights
Mm,
and I walk. And I allow throughout the day to connect with my kids because they're all home, and they can come by my office anytime and just be like, hey, what's going on? That type of thing. So,
Mhm.
and again, sometimes I do better than others, of course, because we're all
Of
human,
course. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I just had someone ask me the other day, they're like, when was the last time you were at the gym? And I was like, I stopped and got a protein shake 2 weeks ago. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I need to get back in, and I had to hurt myself. So that gave me, that excuse. And it's like, this is not an excuse. I can walk the dog. I can lift weights with my arms. There are things that I can do. I'm instead prioritizing other things. And in the long term, if we don't prioritize our health, then we're going to end up having to spend time taking care of ourselves when the sick hits.
Yes, yeah, and it's like that scenario of being on the airplane, putting on our oxygen mask first and then helping others. And the more that I pour into myself, the more everybody wins.
Mhm.
Personally, professionally, they all win, and it's all a beautiful experience. And again, my life is so much more peaceful. And when it's peaceful, I'm more efficient in my energy. When I'm peaceful, I am more creative, and ideas come to me. So like last month, I always have goals for the month. Um, and in my human design, it helps me to like recognize how to manifest more.
Mhm.
And so I utilize that, and I had the sales goal for last month, and I typically have sales goals. And I was like, okay, this is the goal. It just kind of came to me. I just sat with it. I wasn't like, well, I want to get this,
Right.
like in that energy. It was just like, what do I want to receive for this month?
Mhm.
And I totally hit my sales goal. It was so cool.
Yes, good.
So it's things like that. It's like, I guess like it's just receiving and releasing, and
Mhm.
finding more pockets of peace, because it really, really matters.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I have had you on hot seat now for about 25 minutes. um, Asking you lots of questions. Is there anything specific that you can think of that you would like to ask me?
Okay. Oh, this is so fun. Okay, Trienne, there's lots of things. Let's see. How do you instill more peace in your business and in your life?
I would say that is definitely something I am still learning. I have to continually tell myself to be present. I mean,
Ooh,
every moment, down to like last night, I was sitting with the girls after Tegan's softball game, and we just didn't get a lot of one-on-one or two-on-one time yesterday because it's the last day of school and I was working and da 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 da, and then we have softball and but we did have it right before bed. So I had to intentionally leave my phone in the kitchen. My phone doesn't make
ooh.
noise. It just lights up like my phone's broken and I have not fixed it as a choice.
Such a good
Makes
idea.
no notifications. I can't hear out of the ear part. I can't, nothing. So, so I'm like, I'm just going to leave this in the kitchen so that my eyes aren't even distracted. And I have to do that sometimes to really make myself go,
Mm.
nope, I'm right here, right now. And, at first it gets me a little tight in the chest because I'm like, what if somebody from the team needs me? But it's like, what if my daughter needs me? Right now, she needs me,
Yes.
you know? So it's reminding myself of that everything else can wait, and that core 4
Mm.
needs to be the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's so beautiful, because it's like putting your intention with what your values really are.
Mhm.
Like as moms, we're always moms first, really.
Yeah.
And but sometimes I think that's where the disconnect comes in, is like,
Mhm.
how do I balance this mom's things that I want to do because it's always on our brain, versus our businesses and all the other things that we do and all the other roles that we play.
Mhm. Oh,
It
yeah,
takes a lot of emotional space.
I'm, like, well aware that I only have another 6 summers with Tegan, and,
Oh my
in
gosh.
reality, probably 4, because she is a busy girl, and she will be the girl who, like, she can walk into Walmart with $20 and walk out with 25. She is the girl who will make money no matter what and always be kind of
Oh,
doing something. So I realistically know I've got 4 or 5 summers left with this chica, so I need to make sure that she remembers those. So there's a little bit of like, I made that a pressure thing until I really had to go, no, it's not, it's supposed to be fun, Trienne. It's supposed to be memories. It's supposed to be, you know, those feelings of like, wow, when I think back on my childhood, what did those summers feel like?
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's memories that we hold, and it's feeling like these bonds and this connection with each other that is, you know, it's just beautiful, and I want to always make sure that, like, that living life is what I do instead of life living me.
Yes. I've got your, so your social link for Instagram and Facebook. This is your Instagram, right? And then I'm going to put in our comments down below other ways that, like your website and things like that. But at least Instagram and then Facebook is just your name as well, correct?
Yep, just my name. Yep,
Okay,
exactly. Yep,
perfect.
totally.
And then is there any other things that you would like to share with the community while we're on that would maybe help them understand a little bit more about human design?
Yeah, totally. So they can go onto my website, CourtneyKoenig.com, just my name spelled out, and they can get their human design chart and a guide that goes along with their chart as well to start helping them to tap into their human design type. And type is where we always want to stay within. That's the first spot to learn, you know, is
Mm-hmm.
our human design type and really align with that. And so oftentimes people start learning, they're like, oh my goodness, this is so me, you know, but
Yes.
that yes,
Yes.
right. Yeah, it's so funny. And it's so funny how empowering that statement is. Like, wow, this is so me. So once you start seeing you, it's like, oh wow, this just shifts and changes everything. So it's a great place to start, great place to connect, and just send me a message and love to chat.
Okay, I love that. Okay, so that is up on the screen for you guys. And then I will just leave that up while we close this out. Thank you so much for being on the channel. I appreciate it. And I call it the channel because, you know, we're going to be on YouTube. It's going to be part of the podcast, part of our Facebook community, the Female Leader Headquarters. So I always just make sure to share. It's a channel, it's a thing, right? All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And you guys go
you.
get a hold of Courtney, grab that chart and your guide. I'm sure she's open to questions. She has a beautiful Facebook community as well, where you can get more information about things like that. And we will see you guys on the next episode. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, Trienne here, back again. Just a thank you to being part of our podcast. We are loving all the reviews that we're getting, the messages that we're getting that are showing that the content is exactly what you need to be showing up as your authentic leadership self and for your teams and your business. Remember, we are also over on Facebook in the Female Leader Headquarters, and you can join us over there to continue the conversation about how we can lead our teams and start by leading ourselves. We'd love to connect with you over there. We're also on Instagram at Trienne Topp, and you can find us on TikTok at Trienne Topp. We'll talk to you soon.